With the new government now in place at the center, there is a lot of talk about how the overall economy is going to benefit, is going to bounce back here in India. Within that, the automotive space is something being looked at very closely because, again, lots of expectations there, not just in terms of policy, but also in terms of just the overall impetus coming back to the automobile space. Joining us to talk about that and a whole lot more is a very special guest. We've got the relatively new MD at Toyota Kirloskar Motor, Mr. Naomi Ishii, speaking to us. Great to see you.
Good to see you. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time. I want to firstly once again welcome you to India. I know it's been about 4 or 5 months now that you've been here. You came at a time when it was the Auto Expo and the whole industry comes together. It's a very high decibel event for us. So perhaps not the best time to take stock of what's happening because some of that is unreal. Now that you had some time to spend here, firstly, your assessment of the market.
The market itself is so far, as you said, going bad, and from May, I see a lot of the good signs. Say for example, our sales has in May was 18% growth year-on-year basis, and also thanks to the new government led by Modi, Mr. Modi, I see a lot of the expectation in the latter part of this year, and I always try to visit dealer if I have spare time, many dealers, and last week and this week as well. When I visit dealer, I can smell a lot of good sentiment, which our dealer people are really feeling from the customers. So I think the market will grow again.
Before I ask you specifically about Toyota, for the overall industry, there's been a lot of waiting and watching. There's been a lot of uncertainty. To a certain extent, that's to do with what's happening in the overall economy. But specific to buying a car, a lot of people have held back on that decision. So from what you are saying now, and what in fact most of the industry is saying now, finally, there should be better times ahead. Will there be a sudden sort of burst of demand because there's been so much waiting and so much pent-up demand?
I think in June, definitely I hope or I expect the big bang. But how long that banging will last, which I really have to carefully watch. Yeah.
And now let's talk about what's happening with Toyota, because you've recently had a couple of new launches as well. That was something that came after a relatively long gap. Yes. So a lot of expectation was there, and then we didn't see new products from Toyota for a while. How has that affected the company over the last year?
Sorry, I don't understand.
You didn't, till the new Corolla and the Etios Cross, you had a very big gap between that and the last new product. So how has that affected the business for you over the past 12 months?
The Corolla,
not having a new car.
New launch, you mean? Okay, I think honestly, I've just started my business since the beginning of this January, so I myself didn't feel such kind of long period, because when I started my assignment here, I have already known that the new product will launch. So personally, I didn't feel such kind of the long waiting period for myself. Honestly, this is my sincere opinion.
But in general, do you think for manufacturers in a market like India, it's important to keep having new launches? In your case also there was a little delay because of the labor issue, but do you think that's important?
Yes, I see that is exactly what I learned here in this 5 months. Compared to the other countries, relatively speaking, the period of the new car impact is a little bit less than the other countries. The people are really, energized or excited with new car, but that doesn't long like 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, which is, I think, somehow the character of the Indian market. But I think, the other brand of Toyota, I see a lot of opportunity yet. which means that the continuous improvement on the product basis and keep making a noise, will eventually, I think, continue to attract the customer as long as possible, which kind of, the marketing and the product, refreshment, continuous refreshment, still, I think, work very well in India. So I'm now trying to, do such kind of, the activity as much as possible to see how it works. Yeah.
The reason I asked you that question is because in India, you have an interesting sort of a situation with Toyota, because right from the time you entered the market, the brand is well known, it's very respected, but with that comes a lot of expectation. People know that you are, one of the biggest manufacturers globally, so from being world number one, the expectation in terms of what you do in India becomes greater than maybe some of your competition. How do you meet that expectation? Because it's not easy. You can't keep launching new cars. So how do you meet that expectation that people almost put a pressure on you?
I think the more than short-term oriented, but I think in mid and long term, I think we have to show our performance to meet their customers' demand. Say, for example, we predict that the Indian economy will keep growing anyhow, and sooner or later, I think the Indian market will exceed the 10 million, maybe between 20 to 25, which I don't know, sooner or later, and led by the expansion of the mid and high class, the customers who are relatively affluent and well knowledgeable about the global, context. So and also not only the market attractiveness itself, but I see a lot of the attractiveness in the India as a manufacturing, basis as well. Thanks to the advantaged natural resources, and also the a lot of and excellent engineers who can speak English very well. So that will become very, very good the aspect for us Toyota to work with for the global expansion. So from that two perspective, we definitely we want to grow here, and but at the same time, India has several challenges, like a kind of infrastructure issue, modernization, and energy security, or environmental aspect like exhaust emission, and also safety issue. So as Toyota, to be selected by India and respected by India, and I really think that not only just to grow in a volume manner, but by overcoming such kind of the challenges that India has together with India, and then I want to grow with India, which means that of course we need volume, but at the same time the qualitative growth is really necessary, and I think we are expected by Indian market and the Indian government. Otherwise, it's just a competition.
Yeah. But speaking of some of the problems that you mentioned, infrastructure, etc., again, the expectation is now on the new government. So hopefully, hopefully something happens there.
Yes, I believe so.
We all hope so as well. But the other point which you mentioned, that there are two views. There's short term and then there's long term, or mid and long term. But in that short term, then I know I get a lot of our people, the viewers, even people who engage with us online on our website, asking us questions like, look at Toyota's portfolio. Why aren't we getting the RAV4? Why don't we get the Rush? Because people, they travel abroad, they see things, they come back and they say, it's perfect, we should get it. Of course, it's not easy for you to launch that, I know, but do your dealers also ask you questions like this? Because, right now SUVs, compact SUV is the craze. So obviously your dealers will want that kind of action from you.
Of course, we very acknowledge about what is happening in the market, and also we are discussing with dealer friends, of course, for the future, the product lineup. And but as I said, the recently as a kind of Toyota's responsibility, I think we really have to contribute to the society, not only to satisfy with customer, but also we have to promote the motorization in a very, very nice manner. So even though the customer really want to have the small SUV or whatever, I think competitors do it, right? But of course we should do, but we should do a little bit in a different manner, and that's why I think the current focus is, of course, to meet customer SUV, mini SUV, or fantastic hatchback, whatever we do. But at the same time, we really have to think about the how to say, for example, to contribute to reduce the CO2, or to contribute to India in reducing the number of fatal accidents. But that sort of thing is also important for us to meet the country's the expectation as well as customer expectation. So I think we are really thinking such kind of the comprehensive strategy. Yeah.
You've taken a small step towards that by launching the Cross, because obviously that's where the market seems to be, and consumers like that sort of styling. What's the response? How are you seeing that?
I really have to expand the sincere thanks to the customer. Now we have the almost 5-month back order, and which is exceed my expectation. That's good news.
It's a good problem to
have. Yes, it's a good problem. So
okay.
Now we are increasing the production as much as possible, as quick as possible, to deliver the vehicle as quick as possible. I don't want to wait the customer. I don't want the customer to wait so long. So it's very good. And also the model itself was accepted like not just a small SUV, but in between concept. So very close between hatchback and SUV. So, and also this has not only the exterior fantastic looking, but also the agility and the driving itself is fun to drive. So I think that both of the aspects can really attract customers, so that we see that this very good result so far. And I want to continue to this kind of situations.
But the Cross body style, is that just for India, or do some of the other markets which have Etios, will they also get it?
India and Brazil.
Okay.
Yeah. And from India we export to other countries.
So Cross as well?
Yes, to South Africa and also neighboring countries.
Okay.
Yes.
No, but then that again puts pressure on your production, because, like you said, the local demand is quite high. So
Yes.
How are you being able to balance
Yes.
between export and
yes,
local?
yes, of course. But we have to satisfy both of the customers. So what we have to do should be always try to increase the production number. Yeah.
Which of course then brings me to the Corolla, because
Yeah.
Also more pressure on your
Yes.
production there, because it was a big gap between the last Corolla and this one, and so
Yes.
obviously market was ready for a new car.
Yes.
New generation is always exciting, I think,
Yeah.
and with the Corolla nameplate for sure.
Thank you.
What do you think people wanted from that car? You've also been very aggressive with pricing. What do you think people were waiting for in that sense? Do you think you've got it right in terms of what you're offering?
The new Corolla artist has the very global standard, of course, QDR, which means quality, durability, and reliability, and also that car can deliver offer the very big, unique, the rear space together with the rear reclining seat, and also the very advanced, modernized, better, very Toyota brand oriented, looking. I think the and also the fundamentally that car can, give the very prestige image to the customer. So I think so far the reaction of the customer is so fantastic, and particularly the loyal customer who have been with Toyota and Corolla for a long time. We have now around 88,000 existing Corolla customers, so they're really coming and waiting for the order to get the car actually. So I think they very good, and also as you said that start appealing to the young, the rich people as well. So I want to continue the marketing without losing this very good trend, and knowing customer reaction, and then again I want to incorporate that emphasis into the sales and marketing as a PDCA. So we call continuous improvement. Yeah.
I think you also have been a little lucky in the sense that you showed the car at the Auto Expo in February, and of course you launched it just now recently. But customers seem to wait. They seem to have waited for the car. They didn't go somewhere else.
Yeah.
So that's worked for you, I think.
Yes, very good. We did a lot, to keep the customer be with us, not just the accepting the receiving the order and nothing to do, but we always communicate the customer to keep their motivation and their excitement with our car by doing a lot of activity. So now I think the customer are really satisfied with receiving the car.
As compared to the time when you launched the last generation and today, that whole segment, the mid-size sedan segment, has obviously contracted. I mean, people have either gone towards smaller cars or they've gone towards compact SUVs. Now, last year we saw the Octavia coming from Skoda. Again, some energy, some excitement came back to the segment. Now you have the new Corolla. Again, we are seeing some good numbers. Do you think that this segment, globally it's such an important segment, but in India it has lost its color a little bit? Do you think it will come back?
Yes, I'm sure that will come back. My prediction in the 2020, the 6 years ahead, now there is 90 million mid-class customers who can afford buying cars, and those people are expected to become 190 million in 2020. And also on top of that, super rich or very affluent customer, we have around 20 million, which will be expected to become 50 million, something like that. So I think now the of course volume of the market, almost 70 or 80% of the total market is under 8-lakh pricing, I think. But gradually, I think that's kind of number of customer will be increased above 8-lakh, so that the segment of the Corolla will become bigger and bigger and bigger. That is what we are expecting. So I think for us launching that the global and the very fantastic Corolla at this point in time is very good timing. We can wait for customer.
But you have been aggressive with the pricing as well. So you do want some new customers to come in today as well.
Yeah.
That was intentional to go after a new kind of customer?
Yes, of course. As you see, the Honda City and the Hyundai, they're doing very well at the 10 lakh pricing area. I think obviously our the pricing target is also to try to get that kind of customer to bring up to the Corolla sector.
Yeah. And again, the Toyota brand name helps. So some of the consumers will look at the option of the Corolla as well.
And also, I want to pass that customer to the higher the segment, like a Camry hybrid.
So that they grow with you rather
Yes,
than...
yes.
Yeah.
I think the hybrid will be I think, the kind of key for us to contribute to the society, as we talking in the beginning of this the talks. Other countries like Europe or Japan or the United States of America, and also recently China, going for the hybridization or electrification, the powertrain area. So in order to reduce the CO2 and also to contribute to the reduction of the exhaust emission as well. So sooner or later in India, we see the same thing happen. And among competitors, we should be the leader to promote that area. So I think we feel a kind of responsibility to promote. So from that perspective, this year I want to focus on selling the more Camry hybrid as well as a Corolla as a kind of set option. Yeah.
In fact, it's wonderful that you're talking about hybrid, because that's the next thing I wanted to ask you.
Oh, really?
The expectation from Toyota is that, again, you're such a global leader in hybrid technology, such a large portfolio of hybrid vehicles. I mean, you even have the Aqua at one end and different variants of the Prius now. And in the US, of course, I don't even have to quote the success. But in India, people, see it as expensive, and they don't really bother to look at the other benefits very often. With the Camry, this time things seem to have changed a little bit, because the price differential isn't like what we've seen in the past with other hybrid offerings. Do you find that encouraging? Do you think people are now going to be a little more conscious?
Yes.
Buyers might want to look at hybrid options?
Yes. The pricing of the hybrid model is heavily affected by the tax system of the India, and recently the government introduced the tax incentive on the hybrid car if we localized some parts of the hybrid car. So we are now enjoying that. So we could a little bit make the price affordable. So that's one thing, and the customer who are driving hybrid Camry is so satisfied with the car, and the problem that we have to overcome is now to encourage hybridization. I think we have to explain what is hybrid. I think compared to the other countries, such kind of an effort is not enough for us to do. So I really feel that we have to, explain what hybrid is to the customer. But it is interesting that if you, make the customer on the driving seat of Camry hybrid and ask him to test the vehicle, immediately he will, easily, decide to buy it. It's happening. Particularly in Mumbai or Chennai or Delhi, such kind of course, Bangalore as well. Such kind of mega city. The customer who are a little bit wanting something new and something the high technological aspect which they cannot see any other than Toyota. They immediately make a decision to buy hybrid, and they are very satisfied with that. So I think of course the pricing itself is very key factor, but how to let customers know about the hybrid is very, very challenging and very fun to do for us.
Yeah. No, and because especially it is Toyota, I mean the other companies may not find it that easy. For years we've been seeing how a lot of the automobile manufacturers, especially the Japanese manufacturers, have been lobbying with the government to say, look, let's incentivize people to buy green vehicles. Hybrid is one choice. You've mentioned electric. That's probably another. India is probably very far from electric because we don't have the infrastructure to support it. But hybrid is a good solution.
Yes.
Do you have expectations now that the new government will look at this a little more seriously?
I definitely expect. Yes, I definitely expect, and we are confident that we can contribute to that promotion as a Toyota a lot.
But if that has to happen, let's say the government comes and says, okay, we'll give you an incentive so that people have the choice to buy a greener car than a not as green car. Do you then think that there will be a necessity for not just Toyota but the other manufacturers to offer a wider variety of hybrid cars? I mean, not just big sedans or not just SUVs, but also maybe slightly more compact cars, so that it becomes more accepted.
Yeah, there are several types of hybrid. Our hybrid is a full hybrid, which has a much much enough battery and motors. We have 2 motors, and controlling the every situation perfectly, but a little bit costly. Yeah. And between conventional engine and hybrid, we have some how can I say, capacitor vehicle, and also do you know ISG? Okay, very well. So we call mild hybrid, and I think of course the step by step we have to to promote the hybridization, but we really have to think about which the technology can meet or can contribute to solve the challenging in India in a very, very scientific manner, and then I think step by step we have to expand the hybrid suffix or hybrid the grade to the other models. So far, our focus is that on the full-fledged hybrid. So to make that the vehicle affordable for customer to buy, it is necessary for now to put the hybrid on a little bit higher grade model. But looking at the hybridization speed, gradually I really want to cascading down to the smaller cars, step by step. At the same time, of course, we have to bring the new technology to reduce the CO2 or fuel consumption on a conventional engine. So such kind of a comprehensive, a little bit, mid and long-term strategy is really necessary, and we are working on that. Yeah.
And the good thing is that the Indian market, the consumer accepts very quickly, so you don't necessarily have to have long lead times. Okay. Once it comes, it will suddenly have a cascading effect, like you said. One of the other things which I wanted to talk to you about before we end is for many years now we have been asking your predecessors about Lexus, but last year it seemed, or I would say 2012, it seemed that global management was now considering Lexus for India. Then of course the market turned, and the Lexus decision got pushed ahead. Do you think that there has to be a certain time where you simply must bring that brand to India, because obviously the luxury of the premium market grows at a faster rate than the rest of the industry? So at what point do you think it will become compelling for Toyota to simply bring Lexus? Cannot wait anymore.
Now the German 3 is expanding its business by localizing vehicle more and more, and I think now the market is something like 30,000 to 35,000, something like that. And we predict the premium market will grow maybe up to 2 lakh or 3 lakh in 2025. So we feel really that we have to come to enter that segment. But again, the just to sell the volume, just to sell Lexus is not, I think, our kind of mission. to contribute to Indian society. So which kind of the business model is the best for us to contribute to Indian society, as well as how can I say, mutual prosperity with the German brand or other premium brand, because of course we have to have a lot of showcase as a car industry. So in these car premium segments or premium brands, among them, how we should differentiate Lexus from others, not just product, not just by product, but also service, or say for example, speaking of product, there are many products, right? The SUV and many powertrain. How to differentiate us to show the different choice for India is a very, very, I think, important thing for us to be sustainable in Indian market, because Indian customers are really, really, changing their mind quickly.
Yeah, it's difficult to catch them.
Yes, so to continue catch like Innova, Fortuner.
No, but you have, again, a big advantage there is hybrid. None of the others, the Germans, are doing anything there. So that could be one of the things you look at as well.
Good idea.
Because Lexus globally is seen as a very strong hybrid player as well.
Okay, thank you very much.
So that could be one differentiator.
Good suggestion.
Okay, so then as I wrap this up, tell us what your, we at the start you talked about short term and long term. So of course in the long term, yes, we'll probably have a very big portfolio from Toyota, and you'll probably have a much larger market share as well. But in the short term, what's your target? Is there a market share target that you can share with us, or is there a volume target that you're looking at?
Before we have such kind of the volume target or a share target, what I'm now really concentrating in my organization, together with dealers and suppliers, of course. The Indian market is very competitive. As far as I see, India is the fiercest market in terms of the competition, meaning the business car industry. So to be sustainable for the future, what we really have to do now is to enhance the operational power, means the sales force, production, manufacturing, purchasing, HR, without enhancing this fundamental operational power and just putting some new model, I don't think it's going to be sustainable. If we lose sustainability, which means that we cannot commit to the customer. So Toyota is not a company just to increase the volume, but how to contribute in a very sustainable manner. And also through that enhancement in each operation, we really want to develop people, and the Indian people, which has a great capability, which is a very, very my good finding, honestly speaking. And in the future, I think personally speaking, I want to have many Indian global executive in Toyota operation. So looking at the kind of the future, what I'm now doing is really the enhancing the operational power, so that as a result we can sell more, we can earn.
That will follow.
Yeah, we can satisfy customers. Without doing that, if you just surface the behavior to the customer, again I have to say immediately they will run away from us because Indian customer cannot wait.
Yeah, that's true. No, and you have quite a new team here as well now in management. So,
Yes.
so there is a fresh approach. There's a different kind of a outlook. So you're gonna be very busy over the next few months. We'll hope to see you soon again. But thank you for speaking to us today. I really appreciate it.
It's my pleasure, and thank you to you, Hansel.